Tonight on the Northwestern News Report, 6th Ward Showdown, we preview the two candidates vying for the crucial council seat.
Plus, information teleportation, how Northwestern researchers became the first to prove the feasibility of quantum communication.
And love with an audience. We take you to a dating show hoping to create the perfect match, live on stage. Those stories and more tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
It's your news right now. Good evening and welcome to the Northwestern News Report. I'm Alicia Tang.
And I'm Kunjal Bastola. It's great to have you with us on a busy Tuesday night.
We have a lot of news to get to, so let's dive right in. Northwestern is cutting spending in all non-personnel expense budgets by 10% for the rest of the fiscal year. The announcement, released last Wednesday, comes in response to a slew of federal directives targeting higher education, including proposed changes to the federal government's handling of indirect research costs from the National Institutes of Health. That proposal is currently held up in the courts and would cap indirect cost recovery at 15% for both new and existing NIH grants to universities, a major change from the current negotiated rate of 60% at Northwestern. In a press release, the university says these changes could have a, quote, profound and damaging effect on federally funded research. In addition to budget cuts at Northwestern, all personnel actions like hiring and pay raises will be reviewed centrally. The university says it will send out guidance and procedures to help folks understand the new protocols in the next few days.
Dozens of Evanston residents spent their President's Day protesting the Trump administration and its ties to billionaire Elon Musk. Gathering at Fountain Square, the group didn't let freezing temperatures stop them from getting fired up. It's an Evanston extension of nationwide worries. The 50-51 movement has recently gone viral for holding anti-Trump protests in all 50 states. This local demonstration was organized by the Pink Poster Club, two Evanston moms taking action to, quote, protect our freedoms and ensure that power serves the people. Emily Miller, one of the Pink Poster Club's founders, says she's frustrated because she says unelected tech giants have too much influence in Washington.
Elon Musk, a billionaire, has enough money to pay for all the programs he's cutting, and he's essentially telling people that they don't deserve their services the taxes are going for, and it's all a scam.
Although the Pink Poster Club doesn't have anything on the calendar yet in the coming weeks, they say frustrated Evanstonians should call their local representatives.
Back on campus, the water is back online after pressure was briefly lost in some buildings due to a water main break early Friday morning. The break occurred in the area of Emerson Street and East Prairie Road, just on the border of Evanston and Skokie. It led to flooded streets, icy sidewalks, and several road closures at the end of last week. Skokie residents were under a boil water advisory for several days, and so were parts of Northwest Evanston. Skokie officials say workers have been making an emergency repair in the hours leading up to Friday's break, but do not believe that work is what caused the chaos. And while the loss of water on campus was only temporary, it came right as students were starting their days, forcing some to get creative with their routines.
Also got like wipes, and then it's like wipe my body because like our shower wasn't working as well. So like I just felt like very like uncomfortable because I couldn't really do my routine of staying clean every day.
Officials say Evanston's water treatment plant supplies Skokie's water, which is why some of the lines near campus were affected.
The first phase of moving city operations out of the old Civic Center began today. NNN's Mila Branson is live at the Lorraine H. Morton City Hall with more on the change. Mila?
Thanks, Kunjal. The city of Evanston is on track to relocate nearly all of its operations out of the Civic Center, which has housed government operations in Evanston for over 45 years. The collector's office was the first department to open in the new temporary location behind me, City Hall. Located at 909 Davis Street, the new building is privately owned, and the city is a tenant. It already houses the police and fire headquarters. The city plans to have both the first and second floors open to the public. The third floor will be reserved for city departments and administrative offices with staff-only access. The seniors-only DMV will be the next office to relocate. It will open in the Levy Senior Center on March 17th. Early voting will remain at the Morton Civic Center. While the city says that all of the moves will be completed by the end of March, the change does remain temporary as the city weighs options for permanent locations. We'll keep you updated as this develops.
Thanks, Mila, for your great reporting and braving the cold out there.
A battle is brewing in the city's northwest corner as two candidates fight to represent Evanston's 6th Ward on the next city council. NNN's Logan Schijano sat down with incumbent Thomas Suffredin and his challenger, Candace Chow. He has more on how the race has gotten personal, with both candidates trading blows in recent weeks.
The next 4 years, there's some really huge consequential decisions that the next council is going to have to make, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Thomas Suffredin has served on Evanston City Council since 2017. If he wins re-election on April 1st, he'd be the longest-serving member. But Candace Chow doesn't want that to happen. The former District 65 school board president, Kellogg graduate, and local business owner says she jumped into the race to grow the city's economy.
We need to make it easier for businesses to come here and to do business.
Chow's also questioning her opponent's allegiances, saying Suffredin's day job as a lobbyist makes him a, quote, walking conflict of interest.
It's very hard to serve two different interests at the same time, serving the interests of Evanston and Evanston residents, while also serving the interest of private clients and even other municipalities.
But Suffredin disagrees and says he's been open about his lobbyist work over the years.
What she's doing is projecting and throwing whatever she can up against the wall to discredit me, which I take offense to.
With early voting starting in less than a month, Suffredin hopes to focus on policy issues like improving the city's infrastructure.
There are a lot of people in the 6th Ward in particular, but Evanston generally, that utilize recreation services outside of Evanston because they're simply better. That's embarrassing.
But with some key items likely coming before the council later this year, Chow says the 6th Ward deserves more transparency. It's something she says there hasn't been enough of with Envision Evanston 2045, the city's project to develop a new zoning code and comprehensive plan for the next 20 years.
We should have been starting with council people and staff combined meeting in homes, in their neighborhoods, in their ward, and helping to understand what issues were and share knowledge before presenting recommendations.
And we should note Chow has also faced some ethics questions in the past as well. In 2018, an investigation found she used her D65 email for political activity during a failed run for state representative. Now, the school board did not discipline her for those actions, which she says were a mistake. In the 6th Ward, Logan Schijano, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Logan. We'll have more coverage on this race and others during our Evanston election special on March 4th.
Northwestern's Associated Student Government's newly elected presidents are already getting their priorities in order. From expanding representation to improving campus safety, they say it's all about action, not just promises. NNN's Elsa Chin has more on what you can expect.
Meet James Lafayette Jr. and Jamal Omni. They're the Associated Student Government's new co-presidents after winning the election earlier this month. Their big win comes despite a campaign that they say was rough at times.
Looking at some of the endorsements that the other campaigns had gotten, for a while I thought we were going to lose. I was actually a little bit surprised when we won and when we saw the results, and we won actually by a large margin.
Their campaign team member, Zenobia Jordan, says they gradually upgraded their social media later on.
Even though they haven't been sworn in, they're already putting in the work. They're talking to students, they're talking with Northwestern, not admin, but staff members and staff offices to help Figley students at the moment, and we have a ton of stuff in the future.
With the election behind them, the new co-presidents say their commitment to students stays strong. They plan to restructure Student Senate and formalize connections with student groups.
I plan to host weekly events myself so people can come, meet me, see my face, and talk about their issues. Beyond that, we want to expand Senate. So currently the structure is 20 student groups and 20 school senators. Instead, we want to have a school Senate and a student group House of Representatives.
Lafayette Jr. and Omni began transition into their new roles during spring quarter. Before they're sworn in, they say they'll work with the current co-presidents to learn their responsibilities and duties. Starting next school year, they will start implementing their policies. Alison, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Elsa. You can keep up with ASG on their Instagram or right here on the Northwestern News Network.
Get excited because the 53rd annual Dillo Day will be carnival themed. Mayfest Productions announced this yesterday. Mayfest worked with NU Dining to make the announcement, with themed food served across the dining halls Monday at lunch, including funnel cakes and mozzarella sticks. Come one, come all, as the carnival arrives in town on May 17th. After the break, stepping into online shopping, how a local store is experimenting with new techniques to keep business strong.
Trying to work my way out of the prison system was the most difficult challenge of my life. It only became tangible once I became a Northwestern student.
One, two, three, four.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
In downtown Evanston, a staple consignment shop that has been selling clothes on behalf of the original owners for over 16 years has fallen on hard times. NNN's Talia Jackson has more on how the store, stepping out on faith, is getting creative in order to stay afloat.
Hot pink decorations and an owner with the personality to match.
Why did I put that on? Why do I do this?
Vivian Killebrew's consignment shop, Stepping Out on Faith, is evolving yet again to keep up during a business slump.
So I've been posting more online, building a website, posting more online, and hoping that things pick up.
Cold temperatures every winter, customer turnover, and the growing popularity of online shopping has led to the shop seeing a 50% drop-off in sales compared to last year.
You never know about business. I cannot, if you say to me, Vivian, what's your best day of the week? I couldn't tell you.
Killebrew says NU students make up a large portion of her sales, and it was one of her regulars that convinced her to break into the world of online shopping.
One of the students told me, I'll never forget it, and I laughed. She goes, I like shopping while I'm eating my cornflakes in the bed. And I thought, oh, that sounds really good.
Killebrew's biggest success so far is on Poshmark, an app to buy and sell secondhand. It helps to fill in the gaps of the in-store sales, and she started reaching out to the community for help.
So I came down to meet Vivian, and she's just such a warm and bubbly person that I immediately knew I wanted to keep volunteering with her.
Resnick says business has been slow.
There's been a few days where we only have like $30 in sales.
But working with a younger generation helps Killebrew learn more about the latest trends.
They just teach me so much. They make me know how old I am.
In downtown Evanston, Talia Jackson, Northwestern News Network.
Keep an eye out for Stepping Out on Faith on Poshmark, Depop, Instagram, and in the next coming months, TikTok. Killebrew's website is also expected to launch soon.
Northwestern's Asian American Studies program launched their winter speaker series this past Thursday with a guest lecture on The Boat of No Smiles from USC PhD candidate Ann Tran. NNN's Callie Proctor stopped by the lecture to get a closer look at the program's first event of the quarter.
Northwestern's Asian American Studies program, or AASP, is welcoming guest lecturers to come and speak about their research. Kicking off the series is Ann Tran, whose research on the Vietnamese refugee diaspora seeks to challenge traditional migration histories.
The Asian American Studies courses often talk about Asians already in the United States, or people who are here and have been here for generations. And I think my lecture, my hope for it is for my students and colleagues to also understand the trajectories of people who don't make it to the U.S. nation.
Both Northwestern students and faculty signed up for Tran's lecture. During the Q&A portion of the event, many attendees expressed interest in a recent shift in focus in Asian American history.
At least the classes I've taken at Northwestern, in the Asian American Studies department, there's been a real transnational turn. We're looking a lot at the conditions under which people migrate to America.
For many of those who were at the lecture, including Tran herself, the topic also had deeply personal connections. As immigrants or children of immigrants, several of those at the event emphasized what they felt was the importance of studying migrant stories.
And I really think about the stories and histories of people who, don't make it, or disappear before ever arriving at the borders of another nation.
At Crow Hall, Callie Proctor, Northwestern News Network.
The AASP's next guest lecture will take place on Thursday, February 20th. To RSVP for the event, you can register at asianamerican.northwestern.edu.
It's hard to believe, but graduation for this year's seniors is just a few months away. The university unveiled that comedy legend Steve Carell will be this year's commencement speaker. The famed actor is best known for starring in the hit sitcom The Office, but made his career over a decade earlier at Second City right here in Chicago. He also has a direct tie to the university, with his daughter graduating in 2023 and his son currently attending the school. Carell says the theme for this year's speech will be lowering expectations, joking that students should start with his speech. In addition to delivering the address, Carell will also be receiving an honorary Doctorate of Arts. Commencement takes place on June 15th at the United Center.
February 14th holds a special place in many hearts, and it's also when some folks on campus made donations to keep those hearts pumping. NNN's Philip Lamb has more on the spirit of giving back on Valentine's Day.
Love is in the air this time of year, but it was also coursing through people's veins at a Norris blood drive hosted by Versity, a blood health organization serving Chicagoland for over 70 years.
I know that blood is in need kind of nationwide, pretty much worldwide.
Some traded a bouquet of flowers this Valentine's Day for a needle, all with the hope of saving up to 3 lives per donation.
I feel like everybody could use more positivity and stuff like that, so this is, I guess, my way of making today extra special.
Northwestern is just one small stop Versity makes around Chicagoland as part of its larger mission.
Help cancer patients, help critical trauma patients that desperately need these blood samples.
But retrieving this red remedy isn't always rosy.
We see people pass out almost every single day. It's nothing out of the ordinary, so we have a protocol that we follow in case it does happen. You're in good hands.
Even so, the Valentine's Day drive on campus was filled with heartwarming stories.
I lived in England during a time when they used to have a ban on giving blood, but they lifted that just a couple of years ago. So I've been trying to find an opportunity to give blood since.
But also heart-wrenching ones.
Sometimes they're stories of why they're doing it are always kind of bittersweet, because it's tough hearing it sometimes, especially when they start crying. You don't want to cry with them,
Spreading the love, one donation at a time. Philip Lamb, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Philip, for highlighting such an important cause. A new kind of teleportation, quantum teleportation, was proven possible right here in Evanston. We've got the details next.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at LAS Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
What if you could send information instantly without physically transmitting anything? Well, inside Northwestern's Technological Institute, researchers have just achieved quantum teleportation. As NNN's Andre Hiroki reports, it's a discovery that could change the way we communicate forever.
It may sound like science fiction, but NU researchers have made teleportation a reality. Northwestern Center for Photonic Communication and Computing researchers are the first to successfully demonstrate quantum teleportation over a fiber optic cable already carrying internet traffic.
It was very gratifying to see that actually working after spending months and months and months working on it.
But what exactly is quantum teleportation? Northwestern's Professor Prem Kumar says it's hard to quickly understand the phenomenon.
So in other words, moving information from one place to another without physically moving the carrier or the object.
2025 marks the 100th year of quantum mechanics, but it's not quite a Star Trek transporter yet.
It's specifically quantum state teleportation.
It all starts with generating photon pairs, the key to entangling information. Scientists then create a qubit, attach it to one of these photons, and then measure them together. This measure triggers something remarkable. The qubit state instantaneously teleports to another carrier.
The key element of our work that has caught the attention of the people is the fact that quantum information and classical information can ride alongside the fiber, so we don't have to build special infrastructure for quantum communication.
A bunch of different optical fibers that are bundled into this fiber here, which goes into the basement of Northwestern, and it runs underground all the way to downtown Chicago.
The quantum future isn't far away. It's teleporting right now. In Evanston, Andre Hiroki, Northwestern News Network.
An amazing up-close look at quantum teleportation. Thank you for your reporting, Andre. Kunjal, did you even know there was a thing called quantum teleportation?
Yeah, it's amazing what science can do, from things like quantum teleportation to predicting the weather. And luckily, we have NNN's chief meteorologist, Emmanuel Perez, here to give us this week's forecast. Emmanuel, what do we have in store?
You know, fun fact, Chicago was colder than some parts of Alaska today. Right now, we have a high pressure system far out of our viewing area, but we are feeling the winds associated with the system, which is bringing down that Arctic cold air into Evanston and in Chicago. Currently, it is mainly cloudy with temperatures just sitting at 7 degrees, noticing our wind chills of -3. As the night continues, the temperatures will go down near 0 with wind chills as low as -7. Taking a look at our precipitation radar, we've been enjoying beautiful clear skies with no rain or snow in sight. Conditions will stay dry, but we do have some lingering clouds from the west creeping in and will stay with us throughout the night. Locally, our temperatures remain around the same. It is 7 degrees in Evanston, 6 degrees in Skokie, 5 degrees at O'Hare Airport, 6 degrees in downtown Chicago, and 6 degrees at Midway Airport. On our 5-day forecast, we are looking at a slow warming trend with sunny skies this week. On Wednesday, we expect cloudy skies with a high of 13, noticing that wind chill of -9. Then on Thursday, we welcome back mainly sunny skies with a high of 20 with a wind chill of -8. And on Friday, we do expect beautiful clear skies with a high of 23. And then into our weekend, Saturday, the sunny skies will remain with the high of 27. Then on Sunday, we welcome back those clouds with mainly cloudy skies, but we say hello to higher temperatures with a high of 34. That is it for tonight's forecast. I will see you next time.
Thanks, Emmanuel. Looking forward to some relief from the freezing cold on Sunday. In just 2 minutes, Love on Stage, we take you to a one-of-a-kind live dating show, hoping to make a perfect Valentine's Day match.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Ready, set, go!
While some students say dating at Northwestern isn't easy, and I certainly agree, one student-led event hoped to change that, putting romance and rejection in the spotlight. We matched NNN's Marcella Cano with this story. Here's how things turned out.
This isn't your usual first date.
Typically, if I were to go on a date with someone, I would not want it to be publicly in front of an audience.
But sometimes plans change. Just ask contestant Lily Ladson, who spent Valentine's Day Eve on stage.
I didn't actually sign up. I got called out of the But I was like, why not?
Northwestern's live dating show, produced by Studio 22, first launched last year. Host Goldie Beck says the inspiration came from a viral TikTok dating show. Only on Studio 22's version, there are no second takes.
We asked similar questions, but there you get editing, you get stuff. Here with a lifetime audience, I felt a lot of pressure to keep them engaged.
And that audience was bigger than expected.
I think dating on campus is pretty bad, which is why this event, I think, had a lot of demand.
With all eyes on them, some contestants played it cool, others not so much.
We had sometimes two people who I could tell actually really liked each other and had crushes, but they didn't want to talk. And almost the people who didn't like each other were more fun to watch because they weren't awkward and uncomfortable.
For those behind the dating show, the goal isn't just entertainment. The hope is that it might even inspire students to take their own chances.
I think that just watching people put each other out there, I think, emboldens you as an audience member. Like, I should just shoot my shot because clearly it works a lot of the time.
Whether for love or laughs, the show proved that anything can happen when you put romance on stage. Marcela Cano, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Marcella. That event looked like a lovely time.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight on the Northwestern News Report. I'm Kinjal Bastola.
And I'm Alicia Tang. Have a good evening. Good night.